Dear love judges, this is my story. My dream man. He should be tall, handsome, drive his own car, own a house, and be romantic. He'd call me my love and surprise me with a cake, roses, and the sweetest compliments. It was the stuff we see in movies, perfect, dreamy, and wildly unrealistic. Reality, however, painted a different picture. I dated tall guys who were flat broke, guys who were handsome but had little or no vision for their lives, and even one whose desire was to have me on his bed. And then there was Richard. Sweet, thoughtful Richard. He wasn't that tall or physically attractive, but he had all the other qualities and more. Richard was caring and attentive. On my birthday, he'd call at the stroke of midnight to sing me a song. I would laugh at the way his voice sounded but still appreciate the gesture. He had this way of looking at me like I was the only person in the world. When I wore something nice, he'd hold my hand and say, "You're absolutely stunning." When he proposed, I didn't think twice. I called my mom right there and then, beaming with joy. We got married in June of that same year. Over the next 4 years we had 2 children, Alex and little Grace. But all of a sudden Richard changed. The man who once made me feel like his world now seemed distant and distracted. The compliments stopped. His sweet gestures became a thing of the past. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to the weight of family responsibilities. But deep down I felt this deep pain. Doubts crept in. Was there someone else? I began to secretly investigate, going through his phone, laptop, and bags while he slept. But there was nothing to find. No late-night texts, no suspicious calls. Still, his behavior left me uneasy. Then came Marcus, a coworker I was paired with for a project. Marcus was kind, intuitive, and attentive. "Are you okay?" he asked one day. "You seem off," he said. I brushed him off, unwilling to share my struggles. But his concern was hard to ignore. When the project ended, our boss suggested a team celebration. We went out for drinks after work. I didn't tell Richard. That night I waited, hoping he'd call or text, wondering where I was. But he did nothing. When I came home past midnight, I made enough noise to wake him, expecting questions, maybe even a little jealousy. Instead he muttered, "Turn off the light. It's too bright." The next morning I confronted him. "I was out all night, Richard. You didn't care. I could have been in trouble and you wouldn't have even noticed." He shrugged and said, "You're a grown woman. Do I have to babysit you also?" His words crushed me. The man who used to treasure me now didn't even see me. Meanwhile, Marcus kept reaching out, his attention, a soothing balm to my wounded heart. One day he said, "I know you're married, but I can't help how I feel. You're amazing." His words made me feel alive again, like the woman I used to be before life dulled the sparkle. We didn't cross any lines, or at least that's what I told myself. There were flirty texts, a stolen kiss, and late-night chats that made me feel wanted. I wasn't planning on taking it further, but I was naive to think it wouldn't spiral out of control. Then one evening Richard found those messages on my phone. He stormed into the kitchen, rage in his eyes. He shouted my name, "Sandra. Who is this? Who's sending you these messages?" Before I could explain, his hand struck my face. A slap that echoed through the room and shattered whatever was left of our relationship. "I haven't done anything," I cried. "He likes me, but nothing has happened. I swear." "You liar," he bellowed. "Why would he send you those texts if nothing happened?" From that day our marriage became as cold as a mortuary. We lived like strangers in the same house, avoiding each other, speaking only when necessary. Richard made sure to paint me as the unfaithful wife to my family and his family. The irony? He had given up on us long before Marcus came into the picture. But now I had handed him the perfect excuse to leave. My husband has served me divorce papers with the plan to gain custody of our children. When a man wants to leave, he'll find a way. And if he can't find one, he'll create it. Dear love judges, should I walk away from this marriage or hold on, hoping that my husband will come back to me?